Hello everyone and welcome to another League Racing video on the channel here today. This is round number 2 of World Online Racing and we are here for Qatar. First ever time I'm League Racing here, guys. If you haven't seen round 1 at Spa, check it out. The season opener, link in the top right. Spoiler warning as we get into today's action at this brand new circuit. Wrong gear, that's a scruffy banker. Oh wow. There's me thinking it was a scruffy banker as a 0.3. Still last though.
What's second?
I don't know, I was going to go back to
106.
Second place is a 106.
I'm half a tenth off and I'm 9th.
I'm last on a 391, 15th.
I'm
What?
9th on a 163.
Wow. That's ridiculous. Now I'm most likely going to title this video the closest qualifying I've ever been in, because it was actually ridiculous from the very first set of runs how close the grid was in this split. I put in, for my level, so much practice into this race, and you know, it was a proper sweat session. So my personal best is a very high 119.9 and my best lap up until this session is I believe a 0.0 or 0.1, a 20.0, 20.1, so that's the kind of target lap time we're aiming for. Either way, the level is really high and the level is really close between everyone. This track is really awesome to drive, but the margins of difference are so fine, and you'll see that in a minute. Not fast enough. Now you can hear me say, not fast enough. There was a bit of time to find in the first 2 sectors. However, the first run, the big time loss, was actually the final corner. I took the wrong gear, as you heard me say before. I should have taken 5th, and you'll see now that's exactly what we're going to do to basically correct the mistake. 4th gear is for the race, and we don't quite get the apex, but you can see, okay, that's what the time was, I forgot about that. This is going to put us in the mix. That gave us all the time we needed, and we jump into P9 with a purple sector 3, which was definitely a personal best final sector. I've never gone that quick before in that final part. That's a personal best final sector for me. I ain't going to touch that. That was really good. So yeah, job done for the second run. So far, I've done a personal best banker lap, and I've pretty much matched my personal best on my second attempt. So we've had some really good laps so far, so I'm hoping to find a bit more time. The real time to find is mainly in sector 1 and maybe the start of sector 2. So yeah, the best I can hope for is matching sector 3. So turn 1 at the 50, turn in, keep it in 5th, and drive off the corner as soon as possible. Through every single one of these corners at this track, you have to try and make the track as wide as possible. Use every inch of track and curb, AstroTurf, and also carry as much cornering speed as possible. Through the double right-hander, keeping it in 6th, using plenty of curb, could have used even more to be fair. On the brakes into the hairpin, changing the brake bias as well because of the rear locking. You use 50 bias pretty much everywhere else, but for that hairpin, to not lose the back end, you have to adjust the bias. And then also through this next left-hander, which is coming up, you also, at least for my liking, adjust the brake bias to the front so that the rear doesn't come around whilst braking and turning at the same time. Now then, it's all flat out to the end, and we're going to keep it on 50 bias, and we are flying, absolutely flying, finding time on this lap, time that I didn't thought we had. And now all we have to do is try to match our previous final sector, currently P15, making our way through the final few corners, still keeping most of our advantages. We now go into the final corner, checkered flag drops, I hit the apex, but my exit isn't as good. Could have got found a bit earlier there. Still, I'll take it. It's a personal best. Could have been a 19 there. However, once everyone finished their laps, we finished P16. 20 cars, less than 4/10 of a second. Also above, from P2 to P8, the gap was half a tenth. Ridiculous. Such a close qualifying and so competitive. I reckon I could have maybe scraped a 19 with a bit of a better final sector, final corner. But we're really talking fine margins here. I reckon I could have maybe just beaten my teammate Lewis in P13, but that would have been the absolute maximum. Even then, a 0.9 would have got us as high as P9. It's just stupid. It was such a close qualifying. Any fraction of time you could find or lose would prove to be really, really meaningful. So yeah, qualifying done, the closest qualifying I think we're going to see all season, and we're P16, only 2.5 tenths off the pace, but P16 regardless around a really long lap. So yeah, I'm not mad about it because I PB'd and that's the best I can hope for really. So yeah, let's get into the race. I'm going to go for 20-8 front, Lewis. And I'm going to go 20.5 rear. I would go 20.5 on a touch higher.
Yeah, I think I'm just going to be bear in mind for the medium stint. I won't go too high.
Oh shit, fuel. Almost forgot. I'm going to go 2.6. Right, here we go. Time for the race. You've seen the strategy. We're going to go for the hard tyres, then onto the medium. The lights are on at Qatar for the first time ever in league racing, and we're underway off the line. It's not one of my better starts. It's behind Valentino Labella and also Wilson Hall, who's chosen the soft tyre. Get off to pretty decent starts down the outside, trying to avoid. Oh, it's tight. All sorts of contact there. It's just really tight for space. Just trying to be careful as Wilson Hall gets a flyer around the outside. Getting a really good start down towards the double right-hander, now being challenged here up the inside by Lenny PNR as he looks to go through, and we're going to try and stay in front as we switch lines to the outside into the hairpin, trying to re-challenge. Outbrake myself, also forgot to change the brake bars, which I had to basically extend the braking zone to not lock the rears, but we are re-challenging and we are going to repass Valentino, now challenge Andre Molnar as we look to go through on the inside. Not quite able to go through though as we make our way through the right and left, now back up the inside. Slight bit of contact which lost all momentum.
Tyre condition still looking good.
Luckily no damage, but that contact has cost us dearly on the exit, and we lost out to Molnar and also Valentino Labella there, which isn't ideal. By the way, I have to keep it clean. There's going to be so many penalties around here for track limits. If you keep it clean, you'll gain so much. Battery is important. You don't recover battery around here. If you use it, you don't get it back. So important here to not really burn too much if you can avoid it. Now in the meantime, Jack Humphreys trying to put a move on. I made a bit of a mistake at the end of sector 3 through the left-hander before the final corner, which allowed me to basically be under pressure from him. And now we're going side by side through turn 2 and 3 as the battle continues into the end of sector 1 and into sector 2. Jack gets ahead, and now we're back down to P19 as we lose another place. Although we gain again through here, and we're going to get really close. I'm going to send it to the outside into the hairpin to try and re-challenge, but we lose the back end a little bit, which isn't going to help. And actually now Lenny PNR looking to put us under pressure as he gets the switch back, and the battles are everywhere here. We're going to leave space just enough on the exit to, you know, go side by side. I take a little bit of my foot out of the throttle there to allow space on the outside, but we go the long way round and now stay ahead of Lenny into the left-hander, and we hold on to P19, but still we've lost a couple of places off the start. Not really much I could do, just, you know, a bit unlucky with that contact a couple laps ago. If we just stay in the DRS trend and get a warning, that will give us a lot around here, honestly. When they're so far back, that might be what we need to get us in the race. Now we're going to settle into the race, onto lap 6. I mentioned before that, you know, DRS is going to be an effective thing here. It's a DRS train. If you lose DRS, you're nowhere. ERS, as for the battery, you're not going to recover it. If you use it, you're not getting it back, because everyone here is running 50 front wing, and then it depends how much rear wing everyone wants to run, how much you can get away with, but basically everyone's running Monaco levels of downforce at this track for all the corners that there are. Got my foot off the gas, but still gave me one though. Very strict, the circuit. Now I took my foot off the gas there, but I still got a warning, even though I, you know, took a pretty big lift out of track limits. We get another one. 2 warnings now, fuck. On lap 8, which is going to put us in a bit of trouble now, because it's very likely we may get a third. And I haven't had a warning in a long time, but this track is really, really tough on track limits. I haven't had a penalty in such a long time in the league race. And yeah, as I said, I haven't had a penalty in such a long time in the league race. We've had a really good record, you know, even back in F1 22. I think.
Okay, we've been given a time penalty. It will go against our finishing time at the end of the race. Get your head down and let's get it done.
Well, never mind. That's going to be it. Oh, rears are getting hot. Just started to lose the back end a bit. You know, a slight little mistake through the right-hander just a moment before, and then we got the penalty straight after. So yeah, I was going to say, penalties, you know, as I mentioned before, are key here. There was a lot of penalties in practice, also in other league races here, because track limits are very, very deadly. You know, one small error, even if you lift, like I did before, and you lose time, the game's still going to hit you with a warning. So it is just really ruthless around here, and very black and white. So yeah, another factor is engine temp.
Also struggling for ERS slow.
He's going to break the train. So up ahead, Wilson Hall, started on softs, is now struggling with battery and also struggling to hold on to DRS. The train's starting to open up, but engine temp also an issue here because you're constantly following, it's constantly overheating.
I imagine Wilson will pit lap 12.
I mean, if I'm still behind the car and I can follow, which is better than clean air, because there's more front end, then I might just stay out if it's the right situation.
Yeah.
Clean air feels horrible. Which makes no sense, but that's the reality. Another thing that I learned in this race is, in a really noticeable way and in a really bad way, there's more grip following a car than when driving in clean air. If you drive in clean air, you get a ridiculous amount of understeer. There we go. Everyone's in. And like I mentioned in the Belgian Grand Prix episode, I'm constantly learning things in these first couple of races as we now get pit stops. I might stretch the stint.
If like 10 drivers pit here, Tom, like I would go like 17, 18.
Go for a soft.
Potentially. Quite a lot Obviously, pit. if you're struggling for 10, then mediums.
Yeah, Lewis said quite a lot pit, so we're gonna keep staying out. At the moment we're at DRS range, even though we have DRS, we have to basically get back within a second, if not next lap. We're not gonna have DRS. Just need some penalties, man. But yeah, we need some pens for other drivers right now because that's the deciding factor here. We're doing alright, although we get another warning, which isn't going to help. That's now 4, I believe, in this race so far. Just held on to DRS, I took a warning in the process, but worth it.
Yeah, I can't help it. You hit.
Fucking all burning, man.
Yeah, I'm pushing now.
Okay, we want you to pit this lap, so push now, push.
And yeah, pretty much everyone going flat out in this pit stop phase. We get another 5 warnings now. Warning, which isn't going to help, and that's now 5 overall. So yeah, we're only at half race distance, and we are 1 warning away from this, another time penalty, which isn't great. I'm out of battery, so we're going to pit now. I'll set for a medium, and I'm going to bail because this tyre is starting to die. You see in the bottom right, the warning is on. We're out of battery, and I don't have much left in the tank. Oh, I've got 6 seconds. It's falling apart. And yeah, that is a devastating warning. 6 seconds is pretty much unrecoverable. Sometimes you can get away with 3 seconds, but 6 is, yeah, it's not happening. So we're going to box, go for the medium. I couldn't make it to the soft tyre.
Valentino penalty.
And yeah, we're going to put the mediums on. I could have tried to go for the soft, but I just felt like I wasn't going to make it in terms of pace. Also, I don't think I had DRS as well. Even if I did, it wouldn't have made a lot of difference because I would have been stuck behind, and I wanted to try and get an undercut or something going my way because we was also bleeding a lot of time on this overcut to other cars around us. Oh, it's been so long.
Look after these tyres now. You want to finish the race on this compound.
So yeah, back on the way, out the pits, and we are on track, last, P20 with 6 seconds of time penalty, so it's looking pretty bleak from this point on. I don't think it's been a bad race, just a bit of bad luck, bad timing, you know, with the battling, that incident.
Cameron Dad's softs.
Valentino pit in sped.
Green flag.
Now Valentino, Labella was in the pits and spared in the process, which gave him 5 seconds top of the 6 seconds he already had, so that's going to make him retire from the race. And other cars are starting to pit. Cameron Dowds just rejoined ahead of us in P16 as we get another warning. So that is really not going to help. Now tucked in behind Wilson Hall, who's been on this medium tyre for a little while now. Of course, he started on softs, and we have much better tyre conditions, so we're going to overtake him for position, P18. I'm out of battery. 8%.
These lot will help you reconnect there.
Yeah, I'm gonna need this. I was trying to push to catch up to Leroy, you know, and get DRS, but I wasn't quite able to. But now we've got more cars in the pits and more cars.
So much fighting if they're just behind Joe and Mirko. They seem relatively comfortable at the minute.
And more cars rejoining on softs, as it's basically just a constant pit window here. And Lewis, my teammate, is the last car to pit onto softs, so he's going to rejoin behind, so we're now P16. But yeah, Besides the penalties, which, you know, are our fault, you can't really do much about those. I thought some of those warnings were a bit harsh because I did lift. I did try to take some out, but the game still gave me a warning regardless. Pace has been actually pretty decent.
Oh shit.
Oh my god. He like fucking parked it. You didn't get damage from that, did you?
No, I didn't touch you. But I really locked quite nicely. So, nice little bit of a reaction test there to see if I'm still sharp and I'm still awake in this race. Now, the DRS train is broken in multiple areas. However, there's a lot of battling up ahead as now Andre Molnar is going to go through. Let me go by this.
Yeah. See out the corner.
So we're going to try and let Lewis through. We're on a different strategy, but also I'm fighting for position here against Bogdan Moldovan on the medium tyre. We're going to just get in front, which is also going to put him, you know, vulnerable to Lewis. So kind of doing a favour to my teammate as well to help him out and get some moves done. And Lewis here going to go for the pass up the inside. Hopefully it's a clean one and gets the job done. We're tucked in behind Leroy, who's on the same strategy as me right now. And we run wide again as we take a big lift and still get another warning, even though we didn't gain any time. Up the inside. Now given the instruction for Lewis to go through and try to do it in the best way possible to not lose much time. And there we go. Yellow flag as Jan Halliday has damage.
Okay, clear.
There's contact between Jan and Daniel.
Right, the brakes on the train, or we technically, yeah, that's help.
Yeah,
Looks at that.
Andre's just reconnected it, so.
And yeah, pretty much the entire grid merged back up into a train, and we're going to finish the race after 29 laps, 5 seconds off P1, but obviously with the time pen. But that's how close, like qualifying, we all just merged back up again because everyone's so similar for pace. All the tyre wear rates leveled out. A few pens for others. Leroy has 6 seconds, and I tried to cheekily see if I could get him here. I saved my battery. You can see he's flashing, so I tried to use my battery, but my exit and the final corner wasn't.
We did it! We did it!
Wow. Nothing happened. All three of us, but 6 seconds of pens.
Yep. I got a whole penalty in the last lap and that bit.
My final corner wasn't quite up to scratch, so I couldn't really get the run, but still. It's a weird one, man. A bit like Spa. I'm not mad about it because my pace wasn't that bad. You know, I'm happy with qualifying as well. I hit a PB. Obviously, we're in a very strong split. There's a lot of fast drivers here, but it doesn't help that these guys raced at Qatar days before for PSGL. So basically, they got double practice, double league race. So, you know, they were pretty fast. I actually thought my pace was quite good for a one-off league race, but alas, we go to Jeddah next. We'll see how that goes. I thought Spa as well, which was a bad track for me in previous games in general, was actually quite good pace-wise. So I do feel like I'm actually not too bad in this game. I've just got to hopefully get the right strategy. I think that's the right thing. Get the right strategy. Maybe a bit better qualifying. Racecraft is good. You know, my pace isn't too bad, and this was one of them rare races where I just got time pens where I don't remember the last time I got 6 seconds. It's been such a long time, let alone 3. So yeah, just a bad race, but still I really enjoyed it. Qatar's such a fun track to drive, and I definitely learned a lot in this race, and some things aren't quite right. You know, it's actually horrible how bad the car feels in clean air compared to dirty air. But anyway, that aside, just a tough race because if you qualify far down, it's impossible to recover. It's a qualifying circuit, mostly. Worth noting, Cameron Dowds, who rejoined from the pits in P16 ahead of us, finishing P4 on the soft tyre. So that soft tyre actually worked quite well. In hindsight, I wish I maybe could have given it a go. But even with the time pen, it would have meant nothing. So yeah, we live and learn. A lot of things to take away from this race. And one thing I did also realise is that we're going to have to maybe improve our qualifying a little bit more because it can make a difference, especially at this track. This is a track where qualifying is everything, because overtaking is impossible. It's a constant DRS train, and when you're behind, your engine overheats, so you lose power. And also, because everyone's on such high wing, you're going to basically not bring back the battery if you choose to use it. So there is literally no way to race around here. So that's the only downside. Qatar's a bad racetrack for league racing. Other than that, guys, like the video, subscribe. We go again next race, next Monday. We'll stream it. It's Jeddah, so tune in for that one on my Twitch, and then highlights on the later on in the week. And yeah, as always, a big shout out to the members. As always, check out the 2 videos on screen, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I'll see you in Jeddah.